Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, powering the good, and also sharing some exciting news. And with that, we are going to share some exciting news. We're kicking it off with the co-CEOs of Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance, which is the powered by part of cityCURRENT. We have Matt Lipscomb and Johnny Pitts, and we also have Rusty Reid, who's the CEO of Higginbotham Insurance Group. And so you will get to learn all about that here in just a second. But let's start with, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thank you.
Doing great, Jeremy.
So let's start out. Johnny Pitts, Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance, share the good news.
Jeremy, we have some good news indeed. In fact, it's very exciting news, arguably the most exciting news in the 66-year history of Lipscomb and Pitts. So Lipscomb and Pitts is the largest privately held insurance broker in the state of Tennessee. We have merged with Higginbotham Insurance, the largest privately held insurance broker in Texas. Together, we're the 15th largest broker in the United States. Now that is exciting news.
Absolutely. So the 15th largest, and to know when you look at the history of Lipscomb and Pitts, the growth, the development, the give back, and all of a sudden now this powerful opportunity to be the 15th largest in terms of tying in with this partnership. Matt Lipscomb, let's talk to you about why this partnership. So talk about choosing to partner with Higginbotham Insurance Group.
Thank you, Jeremy. It would take a lot more time than this segment's going to allow to cover that fully. So I'd like to cover what we think is the most important. The one thing that we knew for certain that we had to get absolutely right was the culture fit. And we believe that we have a great culture match with Higginbotham. We've always believed at Lipscomb and Pitts that an ingrained culture not only serves to guide your future, but it also in a very real sense defines your history. If you want to continue to perform at a high level, the easiest way to do that is to stay with what is familiar. And Higginbotham has allowed us to do that and to get better at the same time. It wasn't as if we went to our new partner and said, look, we want to convince you to let us continue to do it our way. Because of the cultural alignment that we had, what we're actually doing is the Higginbotham way, but we're doing it naturally and passionately.
All right, let's switch over now to Rusty Reid, CEO of Higginbotham Insurance Group. And Rusty, let's start. For those who aren't familiar with HIG, Higginbotham Insurance Group, give us a little bit of an overview.
Well, Jeremy, I'm happy to give an overview of Higginbotham. Higginbotham today is the 21st largest broker in the country out of 40,000. On the commercial insurance side, we actually have, I think we've ranked based on 2019, 15 out of however many commercial insurance brokers are in the country. What makes us really unique, though, are a couple interesting things. Number one is we're actually employee owned and controlled. That's something you don't really see in today's landscape. We think that it's very important. Our assets go up and down the elevator every day, and my goodness, we want to make sure that we figure out a way to really reward them. And we really started that endeavor, truth be told, back in 1989, when I had the opportunity to lead the buyout of the organization. And we did that through an ESOP. Today, we're not an ESOP, but we're still majority owned in a big way by our employees. And so that we think that does a lot of things. It helps us not only attract the best and the brightest, but more importantly, keep them on the team. And we have really a de minimis turnover rate, not only with those that are client facing, but even those that are on the backside supporting those that support the customer. If you look at broadly speaking, we do about 60+% of our business is in the property and casualty area, a heavy emphasis in commercial insurance, but we also have a very robust personal insurance offering. The balance is made up of what we've described as financial services. The largest portion of that is employee benefits, but we have a very robust executive compensation and life offering, 401k, and we actually have a very strong HR services business. And what's really been unique with our model is we've kind of taken the national account service model and brought it down to the mid-market sector. Our definition of that is what we describe as our day two services. And those services on the property casualty side, as an example, entail having attorneys on staff to help out with contract review, licensed adjusters to help navigate claims. We have loss prevention and safety engineers, and then a very robust technology platform that ties that together. And then on our financial services side, we actually have wellness directors to help folks make sure that they have a very well employee benefit base. We have attorneys on staff to help navigate compliance. Our head of that is a gentleman named Ross Carmichael. It's real interesting. He describes it as the alphabet soup, FMLA, ERISA, et cetera. We also have technologists that help both tie together your online enrollment to your HR system, to your payroll system. And so we bring almost all those services to our customer on basically a free basis. And I know sometimes people say, well, when something's free, it's not really good. But our really attitude has always been that when we're actually getting paid to be the broker, and we've just figured out a way to provide these services. And really what we describe as a frictionless basis is there's no cost to our internal team to utilize these services, and certainly no cost to our customer outside of our Section 125 business, which is very normal. It's interesting too, Jeremy, when you just think about Higginbotham, we're really guided by our values. And it's something that if you look at our mission, vision, and value statement, it just follows all the way through. We want to be family to our employees, which by the way, are up to about 1,500. We want to be advocates for our clients. With our insurance companies, we want to be partners. Our belief is you can kind of kill people with kindness. Some people in our industry think being a bully, and what we find is we get a lot more favors taken care of on behalf of our customers when we're really more partner-like, if you will. And then last but not least, and probably most importantly, we also want to be generous to the communities. And our attitude is today we're spread over approximately 45 offices. If you look at our footprint, it really kind of starts in California and it goes to New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and then it spreads obviously now into Tennessee. We find ourselves now in Louisiana, Georgia, and Florida. And so we're on that kind of lower end of the US. And we really find that it's important to make sure that we give back. And so back in 2011, we actually started what we call the Higginbotham Community Fund. That's really driven by our employees, not only from a donor perspective, but they decide on a quarterly basis who they want to give a donation to. And our only rule at Higginbotham is if you give to the fund, then you have a say in where those dollars go. And so from our perspective, it's been wonderful to watch. We seeded the fund with $50,000 at that time. And then our firm, again, because we're employee owned, we make annual distribution to our shareholder base, and we take $1 a share and put it into the fund. And so today we're knocking on the door of about $4 million as it relates to not only donation, but pledges. And that number just continues to grow as our employee shareholder base grows. So it's just part of the fabric of who we are. If you look at our mission statement, starts with our employees, our clients, our carriers, and our communities, and you see the same thing as it relates to our vision statement.
All right, now same question to you, Rusty. Why Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance? Talk about why this partnership is so exciting.
We're just so excited to partner with Lipscomb and Pitts because we always think it's people first, which really means you share a common culture. And many years ago, my partner, Jim Hubbard, kind of coined it the Thanksgiving test. If you can't have Thanksgiving dinner with someone, why in the world do you want them to be their partner? And you know the accolades, one bad apple can spoil a whole bunch. So we've really tried to look at it as we've expanded in what we call our dual growth strategy, organic, along with finding new partners, really staying true, if you will, to our Thanksgiving test. And I got to tell you, when we first met, both Matt and Johnny, I was 100% convinced that obviously, they passed the Thanksgiving test in spades. Candidly, I was really hoping we did in their world as well. And it looks like we did. And then as we continue to meet the rest of the team, my goodness, we could just tell what a perfect cultural fit.
Johnny, obviously with the partnership, as you mentioned, there's so many good new opportunities, but talk about the things that remain the same. Talk about leadership, commitment to community. What are the things that remain the same?
Yeah, when you hear the word merger, most people think, oh my gosh, everything's going to change. It's just the opposite. Our name is going to be Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance. In fact, the top of our building, the signage up there is being replaced right now as I speak with the name Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance. So we know for sure that that's going to be the same. The way that we run things, our culture, the way we manage our staff, our community involvement, all those things are going to continue to remain the same because it's not a change in culture. Like Matt said, there's so many things between Higginbotham and Lipscomb and Pitts are the same.
One of the things that Lipscomb Pitts Insurance is, in my world, famous for is cityCURRENT. And in full disclosure, hopefully everyone knows at this point that Lipscomb Pitts is not only the powering part of cityCURRENT, but cityCURRENT is a part of Lipscomb Pitts Insurance. There's a long history and tie in there together. And so, Johnny, talk about cityCURRENT as relates to what this means, this partnership. So talk about cityCURRENT.
Well, first and foremost, we're absolutely committed to cityCURRENT Memphis and cityCURRENT Nashville. We've been in those cities for quite a long time. We've been successful. We're committed to those communities, and that is not going to change. There may be opportunities in other states, other cities that we'll consider in the future, but for the meantime, we're going to make sure that we continue to serve the communities of Nashville and Memphis like we have done over the years.
Obviously, as Johnny's talking about cityCURRENT and the commitment to the community, that will remain the same, obviously, for Memphis and Nashville. And it's going to be exciting to be able to open up new opportunities, definitely for everyone. But when you look at other things that will remain the same, Matt, go ahead and carry that conversation forward.
I guess what I would add is this. I agree with Johnny, but we also will look very much the same to our clients. They may not even notice a difference. They just might notice that things got a little better, but they may not know why. They're going to be dealing with the same people. It's the same salespeople that they dealt with, the same support staff, the same insurance companies possibly. But in addition to that, we'll have additional insurance companies that we can bring to bear for our present clients and also to convert some of our prospects into clients. From the carrier standpoint, they're still going to be meeting with our staff. We had a meeting this morning with some of the insurance carriers. That will remain the same. And the other thing I think that people would like to know is the leadership is going to remain the same. Our executive committee will continue on as they have in the past, as will our managers. And quite frankly, Matt and Johnny are going to continue on. They want us around for a long time. We've committed to at least 5 years, but quite frankly, we think that we're probably going to be doing this for another 7 to 10.
Talk about on your end for each one of you, when you look at what this partnership brings, it's increased opportunities, access to resources, at the same time, local control, local relationships, really local care and pouring into the community and the relationships, both with the clients, the customers, and obviously the community. So talk about it from that vantage point in terms of the things that you're excited to bring in terms of new resources, yet at the same time, that ability to still build the relationships with handshakes and locally.
Decision-making would be local. I mean, that's very obvious, and we wanted that. So that's going to continue as is. I think when you talk about what's in it for employees, for example, as a company grows, there's more opportunity for an employee to, rise in the career ladder. So there's going to be more positions that will be open. There will be more opportunity. If someone needs to get more training, as I spoke of before, we can train them in a particular area, and then they can learn something, becoming a different role. For example, account assist can become an account manager, who can become an executive account manager, and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunity from that standpoint. And then the other thing is partnering with firms throughout the Southeast. We will be doing a lot of partnering with firms throughout the Southeast. And what that's going to mean is, again, broadening our footprint, having a grander scale of opportunities for new business, for resources for our existing clients. It's going to be a really broadening of everything that you see with Lipscomb and Pitts, and in a better way.
So Matt, what would you add to that in terms of what makes you excited when you look ahead?
So many things, but what I'd like to highlight are these. One, there are so many new services and specializations that we can bring to our clients, which we think that they will appreciate and enjoy. An example would be this. We have a corporate attorney here at Lipscomb and Pitts, but with Higginbotham, there's 9. So that allows us the luxury of having specialists within the legal arena to bring to bear with our clients. And I think that they're going to enjoy and appreciate that. Also, I'm excited that what we're doing is going to make our salespeople more successful. Our employees are excited about it to the point that they gave us a great confirmation in that almost half of our employees chose to buy stock in our new entity. And that's exciting that they're committed in that way. And to tell you the truth about it, one thing I'm excited about is just working with the Higginbotham people themselves. We found them to be very professional, very wise, extremely helpful. And we think this is going to be fun. And we think it's okay to have fun while you're doing your work.
And Rusty, what about you? What makes you excited for the future with Lipscomb and Pitts and Higginbotham Insurance Group?
You know, at Higginbotham, folks always end up owning our stock when they join us. So of course, Matt and Johnny, and many of those at Lipscomb and Pitts are direct shareholders of our organization, and everyone will participate in our Higginbotham grant program, which think of that as an incentive-based program, very much like stock options. And so as we kind of launched our SEC expansion, there is not a better firm to help lead that endeavor than both Matt and Johnny. And certainly at a reputational level, the Lipscomb and Pitts team, you know, they for years get named one of the best places to work, not only in their market, in the country. That's something that we've enjoyed and shared such accolades as well. And so when we're just thinking about who represents the collective we in that kind of SEC corridor expansion, boy, we couldn't have found better partners.
Matt, give me one thing that when you look at the culture fit, give me one thing that really stood out for you, because I think a lot of companies, when they're looking at partnering in general with other companies, what should they pay attention to that's going to stand out as, okay, this really is a good partnership, a good fit? So what's something that stood out to you when you got to know the Higginbotham Insurance Group? What's something that stood out to you is, okay, we're on the right track?
This is part of that cultural match you're talking about, but they put the client first. They bring a great product to the marketplace combined with exceptional service, and they tend to do the right thing. And those are the things that we really identified with and become so much a part of who Lipscomb and Pitts is.
And Johnny, what would you say when you're looking for that partnership fit? Give me an example of something that stood out to you as you got to know Higginbotham Insurance Group better.
I think one of the things that stands out the most is the fact that this is a firm that is run by insurance brokers, not financial people. So it's privately held. That's rare these days when you have a firm that's their size, our size now, and it's majority owned by insurance brokers, privately held by insurance brokers. That's the big tagline. So you have people like us running the company instead of financial people running the company.
When you look at the legacy of Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance, started by your fathers, 1954, what do you think your fathers would say? Let's start with you, Johnny. We're on you. So what would your father say?
Well, they'd say a lot of different things. I mean, the one thing my father would say, I think, it was passed down from my grandmother was, "You done good." That was one of his famous lines. But I think the fact that he would say, we've expanded our company beyond their wildest imagination when they were working at Liberty Mutual in 1954. But yet we've kept the very things that were precious to them, which is customer service, client service, hiring really good employees, excellence in everything we do. Those things haven't changed a bit. And I think those specific things they'd be the most proud about.
And Matt, what do you think your father would say? So when you look at this history, this amazing history of Lipscomb and Pitts, and yet this amazing next chapter, what do you think your father would say? Talk about history and perspective from your end.
I think what he would say is two things about the decision. I believe that they would have made the same decision that we made. I think they would have made the same decision regarding the timing, that now was the time to do this. And secondly, you made the right choice with Higginbotham because they look so much like us. They would say that some things look different, and I think most of that would be the size, the scale, the specialization. But they would also say, like Johnny said, that so much of this looks so familiar to us. It's putting the client first, placing a high value on the employees, again, the great products and service. And at the end of the day, you're doing the right thing, that Higginbotham does the right thing. So it's a great cultural fit, and I think they would be very happy.
Well, thank you, Matt, Johnny, and Rusty, for all you do, for coming on the show and sharing the exciting news. Everyone, you can go to lpinsurance.com to learn more about Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance and the exciting partnership with HIG, with Higginbotham Insurance Group. You can also follow on social media at lpinsurance.com. So go online, learn more about this exciting partnership. And Matt, Johnny, Rusty, thank you again for coming on the show and all you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate it.